I don't fully understand that, but
Just say that the feed on our website.
okay. But they can through Grassroots TV or
Right.
okay.
Right. Okay. Zoom's fine. It's just our,
So we can do online, folks.
yeah, but there's no feed on our website.
They can do YouTube.
Yeah, I have to like put a
So
little
Nicole,
thought to it.
the website is the Granicus feed?
Yes.
So YouTube is up.
Or Facebook?
That's the responsibility, guys.
The YouTube works. Is that the only other?
Is it YouTube or Facebook? Going to count me down? Welcome, everyone, to the Aspen regular city council meeting of Tuesday. We're at the end of the month, May 26th. Where did May go? I'm not sure. Well, we have a pretty full agenda tonight, very exciting. We have a few new police officers to be sworn in. But as always, we will start with the roll call.
Councillor Benedetti.
Here.
Councillor Doyle.
Here.
Councillor Guth.
Here.
Councillor Rose.
Here.
Mayor Richards.
Here. Thank you. We will first go into citizen comments and petitions. This is a time for any member of the public to address council on items that are not on the agenda for later tonight. And we'd like you to limit your comments to about 3 minutes after you identify yourself for the public record. Who would like to make some public comments tonight? Please, Francis, come on up.
Thank you. Mayor Richards, members of City Council, thanks for having me. I just want to make a couple comments. Thanks for the Memorial Day ceremony yesterday. I was moved. Thank you for the bicycle pedestrian safety signs up and down Hopkins and Hyman. I think they're really effective, especially the no speeding signs and the respect signs at the Castle Creek Bridge. I think it's really working. People look at you, they say hi, stuff like that. So congratulations. And thank you. I still like to see more sustainable packaging, especially in front of the gas station. Or inside the gas station, and composting, recycling, and trash bins, you know, the three bins, because that looks, it would really help. I don't know if these guys can staff that, but I think they can. They're pretty busy and they have the bucks. I think that's it. 5:20, congratulations. I don't know what that means.
The opening of the grill.
That's it. They did great. Oh, I had the best hamburger of my life. So, awesome. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Others for public comments are in the back row.
Can I give you guys?
Yeah, just hand them to the clerk and she'll pass them around for you.
Just 5 minutes for the council. Where do you want me to sit? In the middle?
Anywhere where there's, that would be perfect. And
Hi guys, my name's Ian Metcalf, and I live in Burlingame Phase 1. And about 5 years ago, we did a remodel, an addition to our house based on the zoning that the City Council approved back when Burlingame Phase 1 was built. We turned an attic space into a 4th bedroom. Major upgrade, major structural undertaking. And we, luckily at the time, you know, during COVID, construction hadn't quite gone crazy yet, and we managed to only spend about $90,000 on this big project. we are in the process of moving. We just recently won a single-family home, and we're trying to sell our current home for the maximum value we can. And the issue is we are at the top of our price point in category 4, and I've been advised by Carson, the APCHA chairman, board member chairman, he said I should come and talk to you guys about potentially changing the category to a category 5, which would allow our price ceiling to go up. We're not looking to change the bedroom count as such, because I've heard that's a more difficult process. But we're looking just to try and recoup what we spent. We've done a ton of other work too. We have probably the most desirable unit in Burlingame Phase 1. We've remodeled. I don't know if you've ever seen those places. The kitchens are all the same. We gutted our entire kitchen, remodeled it, added granite countertops and quartz countertops and new, modern cabinetry and such, and flooring remodels and everything. And we're not trying to recoup everything. What we're just trying to do is get our money back that we put in for this addition. Now, I know it's above the 10% scope, but we are trying to view this as an addition, not a capital improvement, which it doesn't depreciate. It's an actual part of the house with permitting and roofing and et cetera. So I'm just here to request you guys to, if you are the people I need to talk to about this, then I'd like to see if you guys have any influence on this topic.
Well, we will take a look at this and discuss it, but not during public comment.
Yeah, of course.
But we appreciate that you've handed out a full packet, and we'll take a look.
Okay, cool.
all I can say.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And congrats on winning a single-family home.
Thank you.
Additional public comment, please come forward.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor and Council. Good evening. Kenny and Robin Smith, longtime Valley and Aspen residents, owners of Meridian Jewelers here in town. First of all, we'd like to say how much we thank and appreciate our local police force and local sheriff's department, and I guess the newest class coming up tonight. Special night to be here for them and for us. We know there's some discussion about use of LPRs in town, license plate reading systems, and we would just like to offer our strong support of that as a tool for law enforcement to use to solve crimes, and also as a deterrent to crimes. Statistically, in the business we're in, we know that it serves both of those purposes very well, and we just wanted to make sure we gave our strong support for that. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. We appreciate that. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to make a comment for public comment? Seeing none, is there anyone online? I'm not seeing any hands up with the people online, so I'm assuming no. And we will close the public hearing. Thank you very much. We now, let's see, schedule public appearances. This would be the police members who, oh, nope, sorry, not yet. Council member and mayor's comments come first. So, Bill, you have nothing today?
No.
Sam, anything? Nope.
I'm sorry, I was,
Yep, that's okay.
yeah, I do have a couple comments, actually.
Okay, take your time.
First of all, just wanted to point out that our lawn out in front of City Hall is yellow, which actually, I shouldn't say it made me happy, but it made me relieved that the city is taking this drought as seriously as we are telling the public to take it. So the city of Aspen is walking the walk on this stage 3 drought restrictions. That's all I'm going to talk tonight about, drought and water. My daughter graduated from high school this week, just last Saturday, and I want to give a shout out to the Aspen School District because I'm really disappointed that I didn't get to attend it because it's just such an amazing school, but I'm very grateful that my daughter was able to. It's, if you've ever toured the building, it is just a high school like you've never seen before. Want to talk about their outdoor ed program just a little bit because I think it was very instrumental in forming my daughters. We did a Mesa Verde backpacking trip or camping trip in 4th grade. She's been backpacking in Escalante, Utah, kayaking in Idaho, backpacking in the Grand Teton National Park, rafted down the Cataract Canyon, and also, as every student that goes through the Aspen school system, the backpacking trip between Aspen and Marble, which part of that includes a 24-hour solo, which I think has been, talking to a lot of graduates, that was a really important part of their education, was this 24-hour solo on that backpacking trip to Crested Butte, or to Marble, I'm sorry. I'd also like to point out that Aspen High School has an international baccalaureate program that not every high school has that. And it allows for more opportunities for students. I'm not positive it would have worked for me, but it did work for my daughter. It was an amazing week of events honoring student athletes, one evening honoring their academic accomplishments, another evening where scholarships were given out, and so on. And it was just a really meaningful week to be a part of, and I'm grateful that Aspen has this amazing school system here at its disposal. Thanks.
Thank you. Keep my comments short. I did want to say I really appreciated our staff and the work and this council's work, having a little bit of a mini retreat a week or 10 days ago. We really weren't working on coming up with new priorities, but where are we going as a city? How are we managing change? And how are those current projects going forward? I thought it was very productive, and want to thank staff for putting that together for us. The other thing is simply to say that I was out on Friday with Eric Scarvin and the Pristine Riders, who do cleanup on our trails and parks and roadways. And I did this section with 2 other people, pretty much from Buttermilk up to the airport control center and back down. Other people went up the pass and back down to town, up Castle and Maroon Creek. And the real message they're trying to get out there is to tell people just not to litter or pick something up when you see it, and let's try to keep our community clean. I think it's always a little bigger pickup in the fall after a lot of summer use than in the winter, but there's always things that get buried in the winter, and it's a good thing to keep our community clean and as pristine as we all like to think it is. So thank you to Eric and others for organizing that event, and 520 Grill, who donated free lunch for people afterwards. We would now move on to any agenda amendments.
Nothing.
There's nothing today. And then city manager's comments.
3 quick items. We have a used bike drop-off coming up on June 5th from 2 to 4:30 p.m. at the Rio Grande Recycling Center. Any bikes that are donated will go into members of the community and or used for parts off the broken bikes to create new bikes. This is part of the Carbondale Bike Project. We are also transitioning from our existing business licensing, tax filing, and short-term rental permitting software, which was MuniRevs or GovOS, into LocalGov. That happens at the end of this month. Everybody's account information has already been moved over if you've already got an account as a business in the city of Aspen. So just know that you are going to be transitioning on June 1st to the new system. And then finally, we have a new public art program and installation going in May 26th on Galena Street. This is a partnership between the Red Brick Center for the Arts and the Engineering and Streets teams. There's a lot of collaboration going on and support with the project partners, local artists, and surrounding business community. This is a mural that's going to be put up with the help of Chris Erickson, which is a local artist down Valley. So more information can be found at redbrickaspen.com.
Thank you. Very good. And now we will go to the board reports section of the agenda. If anyone has a board that they'd like to report on, Sam?
Yeah, I just a reminder, I emailed all of council for Nordic Council. We were talking about the Nordic Management Plan, hoping to finalize it at the next meeting on June 17th. It's more or less the same as it was. The only real discussion was just updating climate resiliency aspects to it, which I'm sure will be passed and be aligned with the actual management side of things, especially with snowmaking being a huge issue on that board. And then the only other two things I wrote were that we discussed the golf course clubhouse, and we got a new Nordic easement on Owl Creek section of the Nordic Trail. That should be better for next winter.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Christine or John, who wants to jump?
Yes, please.
Okay. We had an APSHA meeting last Wednesday, May 20th. There are a few updates. There are 17 for sale listings coming up in the next couple of weeks and 4 to 5 open houses. So there's a lot on the market for anyone in the hunt. We had a presentation from ACRA about the airport closure. You all probably saw the reporting on that. They surveyed 130 businesses. 58 are planning to change operations and 10 are planning to shut down fully with the airport closure next year. They didn't have details on what sort of businesses those are, and they will be following up in the fall to
Get a
more
better sense.
information and get a better sense of what's happening with the business. And then that was all in to contribute to a conversation we had about waiving or reducing the requirement for 1,500 work hours in Picken County. No one on the board was comfortable with completely waiving it, so APSHA will come back in the fall with some recommendations on what that might look like for employees. I think that was it.
Yeah, I think so too. It was mostly ACRA's.
Yeah. You know, it strikes me as something that would be interesting, perhaps to even talk to the county about in terms of unemployment type of issues. I recall many times when we would have larger hotels that still would close for 6 or 8 weeks in the off season, regardless of the airport, and then people would be filing for their unemployment, and then, you know, how does that all mesh together? So it might be something to really check in on.
Yeah, and the board just wants the public to know that they're thinking about it, we're thinking about it, and we're aware of the challenges that people will face next year.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I had a Sister Cities meeting last week. Students from Aspen Middle School, the community school, and Aspen Country Day participated in an 8th grade exchange with Chamonix. So they were over there from March 23rd to April 3rd, and they talked about, it was 12 girls and 2 boys. They were impressed by the new cuisine. They explored Chamonix. Enjoyed French culture, made new friendships, really enjoyed their family experiences and attending classes at Chamonix schools. They got to go up the Aiguille du Midi and go skiing and toured a mountain rescue helipad. There is a Aspen Sister Cities Garmisch celebration, again, September 24th. It's all day. It's going to mostly take place at Pepke Auditorium. Please put it on your calendars. Sister Cities website update was complete. It has been completed. That's pretty much it. There's another medical exchange plan to Bariloche for November. One is there right now. Then there's a student exchange also from October 10th to the 23rd. There will be no Queenstown exchange this year at all. There were no students that were interested in going. Shimukapu is planned for next October. They'll be here in January. I also attended a RWAPA meeting, Rudai Water and Power Authority. We went over our water conservation outreach plan, focusing on short messaging that can be easily digested by the general public. Some examples were dial it back until we're back on track. Another one is summer's short, the drought isn't. Roaring Fork stream flows are critically low. Your lawn can wait. Those are just some examples. There's going to be messaging on the radio and on social media ads because this drought is something we all need to take very seriously up and down the valley. There is also a Forest Service agreement to do boat ramp repairs to Root Eye Reservoir while water levels are low. That's it.
Sounds like a good time to do it. Thank you. Since our last regular meeting, we did have the V.A board retreat after a regular meeting on Thursday of last week. They are going to be writing up the retreat of what really came out, but I'd say the top was service and frequency and how to continue to improve that. It's exciting that they are launching some new routes from the Brush Creek intercept lot up Castle Maroon to be able to take people to the hospital, the schools, the ARC, and those areas without having to come into town and change. You're going to see what sort of new ridership we get. That route is called the Flyer, and they're going to be looking to other additional improvements. I think we all know there's a real funding issue with the bus service to Rifle that Garfield County has stopped funding, and it's currently funded through the end of the summer, but we are all looking for different ways to fund that service this winter. We had a small meeting here with staff to listen to the Colorado Municipal League's wrap-up of legislation that passed or that didn't pass, and what some of its effect might be on us, which I think we have something on our agenda for later on, as a matter of fact, too. And then this morning was the Aspen Chamber Resort Association. They're very excited about Food and Wine coming up. They say this summer is shaping up to be very strong for tourism and business, and that they have put out some requests for qualifications or requests for proposals for transit agencies to assist with moving guests in the summer of 2027 from Eagle and Grand Junction airports. So they are working on all those different aspects as well. And that will be it for me from my board reports. If anybody has any questions, you can get in touch with me. We would now move on to other special orders of the day. And the first is a Arbor Day proclamation, and then the swearing in of our new police officers. So we'll start with the proclamation for Arbor Day. And is the city forester here now? Why don't you come on up? Have a seat, and then I'll give this to you. A proclamation of the City of Aspen, Colorado, Incorporated, 1881. In 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of the business areas, beautify our community, and are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas the City of Aspen has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation, now, therefore, let it be resolved that the mayor, city council, and citizens of Aspen hereby proclaim June 6, 2026 as Arbor Day in the city of Aspen, and we urge citizens to support efforts to care for our trees and woodlands and to support the city community forestry program for this and future generations. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would like to say a few words about the Arbor Day celebration coming up, that'd be great.
2026 does mark our 34th year celebrating our Tree City USA designation, so we hope everybody will join us at Pepke Park on June 6th and come and pick up a tree and plant a tree to celebrate.
Well, there'll be a lot of other city booths there with information, and pardon my frog here.
The one thing I've thought about is as we plant trees, we have to take care of the trees that we already have and make sure that they are not posing a fire danger to our homes. So be sure to limb up your trees if you need to.
Yes, and we will have representatives from other departments to talk also about fire-wise and also drought, so, yeah.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now move on to the swearing in of our new police officers. And if you'd like to just come up to the seats here for a moment, that would be great. And first, I'm going to talk a few minutes about these fine young officers, and then we will stand up for the swearing in. So we have Berta Rivera. Thank you so much. You grew up in the Roaring Fork Valley, graduated from Basalt High School in 2014, later attending the University of Colorado Boulder, where you earned a degree in language studies. Berta is multilingual, an avid rugby player, and she looks forward to seeing you all at the 2026 Aspen Rugger Fest this fall. Trey Fabrocini was raised in Aspen, Colorado. He graduated from Aspen High School in 2020 and went on to receive a football scholarship to Denison University in Ohio. After completing college, Trey returned to Aspen to pursue a career in law enforcement with the Aspen Police Department. His father, who is very proud, Rob, is currently a sergeant with the APD and has served the department for nearly 3 decades. And Tatum Hunsader, I almost got it right, grew up in Chicago, Illinois, and attended culinary school in upstate New York. After graduating, she moved to California to pursue a career as a pastry chef. And then Tatum relocated to the Aspen area in 2024, where she worked as a pastry chef at a local resort. But in January of 2025, she made a better decision and joined the Aspen Police Department as a community response officer and has since transitioned into her current role as a certified police officer. So it is so nice to welcome all 3 of you to our police force, and we will now go forward with the ceremony. Stand. Now, I'm going to say I. You've got to say your name. But I'm going to say the first sentence first, but it'll be a blank where the name is. Okay. I do solemnly affirm that I will support.
I, Tatum Hunsader, do solemnly support
The Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of Colorado.
The Constitution of the State of Colorado.
And the ordinances of the City of Aspen.
And the ordinances of the City of Aspen.
That I will faithfully perform the duties.
That I will faithfully perform the duties.
Of a police officer of the City of Aspen.
Of a police officer of the City of Aspen.
And that I will be mindful.
And that I will be mindful.
Of the mission, values, and philosophy.
Of the mission, values, and philosophy.
Of the Aspen Police Department.
Of the Aspen Police Department.
In providing respectful, thoughtful, professional services.
In providing respectful, thoughtful, and professional services.
You want to raise your right hand? I forgot to ask that before. To any person seeking assistance from me.
To any person seeking assistance from me.
Congratulations, you're now sworn in as police officers.
It's kind of awkward having to talk in turn, but I'll do my best.
Just say a few words.
First and foremost, would like to thank you, Mayor, for your kind words. Like you said, I grew up in this community. I'm looking to give back. It's given me so much and so much opportunity, and I look forward to getting to know you all better and seeing you out and about. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for continuing to support me for my transition from CRO to patrol officer. Since I moved to Aspen, I've felt ongoing support, and I can't wait to give back to a community.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. it's a great honor and opportunity to be here in front of y'all today. I'm looking forward to getting to everyone know better. I also know Sam. I served with him with Pickens County Public Health during COVID. So it's nice to have roots, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you all. I think we're just going to take a quick 5-minute break and then move on with the rest of the agenda. Take this chance to clear the room. Thank you. We are going to move on with our consent calendar at this time. And I should mention that the Granicus feed is not working for our grassroots today. We are available on the city website as well. No, not the city website, but on YouTube for those who might be trying to catch up with us. Sorry about that. Technology. The consent calendar, I will read through these and then we'll see if there's any to be pulled. The first is resolution number 68, series of 2026, fleet replacement police F-150 pickups. The next is resolution 71, series of 2026, irrigation upgrades at the Cozy Point Ranch. Then we have resolution number 72, series of 2026, grant application for safe streets and roads for all. Federal grant request. We have the APCHA fund request to buy 2 properties in Woody Creek. That's resolution 73. We have resolution 074, contract for Maroon Creek wetlands restoration. We have resolution 75, series of 2026, appointment of Matthew Butt as assistant city attorney. And then we have the draft minutes of May 12th. Are there any items on the agenda for consent that people would like to have pulled?
Brief comments and questions on 71, please, and 74.
Okay, 74 and 71. Anyone else?
I just had a quick comment about resolution 68.
Okay. Great. Anything else? Then is there a motion to approve resolution number 72, 73, and 775 and the draft minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded Nicole, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Benedetti?
Yes.
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Richards?
Yes, thank you. And I think part of that included our new Assistant City Attorney. We're going to take just a minute for you to do an introduction, Kate, and then come back to the other items that were pulled.
Yes, Matthew Butt is present in the room. If I can have him just stand up and maybe come to the table just so you all get a chance to meet him. It is my pleasure, Council and Mayor, to introduce you to Matthew Butt. Tonight, through Resolution 75, which you just approved, you confirmed his appointment as an Assistant City Attorney with the City Attorney's Office. Just some background on Matthew. He received his undergraduate degree with honors from the University of Georgia and went on to receive a Juris Doctorate from Northwestern Pritzker School of Law in 2024. Shortly after graduating, he did go to work for Garfield and Hecht, a local law firm, working in their municipal law team. He's represented other Colorado mountain communities like Mountain Village near Telluride. And just in my background and research, this took us some time to find the right candidate that we wanted to bring to you. He received glowing reviews from his references who commended his dedication, intelligence, and work ethic. So I'm very, very pleased to bring him before you here tonight. My team is very excited to welcome him to the team. We think he'll be an excellent addition and be a valuable resource to council and to our staff in working through all the things that our community has to deal with and brings to the legal department. So I'm very happy to bring him on, and this seems to be the night to welcome new people, and I would just ask that you welcome Matthew.
Welcome.
We don't have a whole swearing-in service for you. We pass it on consent. So, welcome. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to say a few words, feel free.
Yes, thank you for your time tonight, Council. The one thing that really sticks out to me is how wonderful the Aspen community is, and something I look forward to is facing the new challenges and conquering them, whether it be drought or something else that we don't know is going to come up. I think that the city of Aspen has a unique attitude, and it's full of unique people, and I think there's a real perseverance here that makes it a wonderful place.
Thank you. Appreciate that, and welcome. Okay, we will now go back to the other consent resolution items, and the first is that number 68. John, you want to make some comments on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the Aspen Police Department for continuing to move away from internal combustion engines. Currently, the APD fleet has 18 vehicles, and we are down to only 4 internal combustion engines. Great work, APD. I can't wait to get that number down to 0.
Very nice. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Nicole, will you call the roll on Resolution 68?
Counselor Benedetti?
Yes.
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Richards?
Yes, and thank you both for being here in case there were questions. We appreciate that. The next is Resolution 71. Bill, you wanted that pulled. It's the irrigation upgrades at Cozy Point Ranch.
Thanks.
So let's give staff a little time to go.
Sure. Most of these comments are for you four rather than staff, but
Okay.
I've mentioned before that I struggle with Cozy Point Ranch and how it really fits into the city of Aspen and our mission and our services. And this is really bringing up a lot of uncomfortable feelings for me. I really don't know why the city of Aspen continues to own Cozy Point Ranch, firstly. Secondly, I don't know why we are in the business of farming hay. That seems totally insane to me. This request for new equipment is spurned by the drought conditions, but why are we watering hay at all? If we are providing a service to the community to allow them to board their horses, they can get their hay from somewhere else that doesn't have such water issues, in my mind. This seems like totally superfluous to what the city of Aspen does to me. I can't support any of these activities, let alone investing another $120,000 in equipment to create hay. I really struggle with this. I don't know if anyone else does.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
I can only respond for myself. I have no problems at all with this. And I was on the council when the opportunity to buy this or to see it turn into, I can't remember, 5 or 6 very large free market homes that would have been on that Cozy Point meadow and ranch area. To me, this is literally, as we called it then, the beginning of the entrance to Aspen. When you coming up the valley for the first time from that side, you see pastures and you see cattle or horses, and you don't see second homes. And I think it's become a really educational outlet for our children in the community, learning to grow things. It serves a multitude of purposes beyond the horse boarding, but it's part of our Western heritage in my mind, and it's something that for so many, it contributes to the wildlife in that area that crosses it. It is a way to deal with the water issues from Owl Creek coming down through there, or is that Brush Creek? But I do support seeing this go forward. Others?
Can I respond to something on that?
Yeah.
Rachel, to be clear, I was not and I am not saying that the property should be redeveloped into a different use. I'm grateful for the use that it is, and I think that there are other stewards that could carry that property forward better than the city of Aspen. Perhaps the Farm Collaborative could be the best owner of that property, but I just don't know why the city of Aspen's the owner, and I don't know why we're bearing the burden. This is just one of many, many large expenses we've been asked to approve for this property in my time on council, and I'm just not sure that we are good and efficient and most productive owners of this property in the long term.
Thank you. I understand we got differences of opinions. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, or if we want to see a motion to approve Resolution 71 and have further discussion.
I was just going to add that I agree with what you said. It's more diverse than just the horse and hay operation. In fact, just this week, the Farm Collaborative launched a new third space out there, which is going to increase educational opportunities and so on. I support this moving forward. I do understand the qualms Bill has about growing hay. I mean, we talk about it a lot with the Colorado River water, growing hay in Arizona and shipping that hay to Saudi Arabia for their horses. But this is a little bit different than that.
Do you want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve Resolution 71, the irrigation upgrades at Cozy Point Ranch.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been made and seconded. I was going to mention the archery range. I forgot to say that, which local bow hunters really appreciate a place to practice. If there's no further discussion, we call. Go ahead.
I would just note we do have a work session about Cozy Point on Monday, so maybe there's more room for discussion then, but I'll be supporting this tonight.
Okay, thank you for that, Christine. Nicole, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Benedetti?
Yes.
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
No.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Richards?
Yes, thank you. The next item was a contract for the Maroon Creek Wetlands Restoration. Kate, would you like to handle this one, or I don't know if we have?
Well, I'll take any questions you might have first.
Yeah, my only question was, I saw in the memo that you wrote that the property owner who's responsible for the issue has said that they are committed to a full restoration, I think were the terms that I read. And I just wanted to ask, is there a written agreement in place yet? Is it being negotiated? Are we, do we expect to recuperate all of these costs? Where do we stand from that perspective?
I do expect to recuperate all these costs. To answer that question, we are negotiating that agreement currently. We feel that the situation we're presented with, if a rain event were to happen, that we need to get this remedied as soon as possible, restored as soon as possible. I think some aspects of this restoration will occur later, not immediately, but for in the immediate future, which is why we brought it to you so quickly. We just want the authority to move forward with this contract when we get those agreements in place, but I do expect a full recovery of those costs, whether that be through an agreement or through other action, and we are evaluating what other action and what other legal remedies would be available to us.
All right, and by proceeding with the work, we don't weaken our position
I
for
don't believe so.
recuperating costs, correct?
I don't believe so, and I will say that the landowner has been communicating in good faith with us. I'm talking to his counsel. Again, we just wanted this to get the council approval to expend the funds because, again, there's some details here, but I think that we would like the power to move forward with this as soon as is possible, knowing that, and I don't think we jeopardize our legal position by entering into this contract without a full and formal written agreement in advance.
Thanks. That's all I had.
Thank you, Bill. If anyone else has any questions, otherwise I would accept a motion to approve resolution number 74, the contract for Maroon Creek Wetlands Restoration.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Nicole, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Benedetti?
Yes.
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Richards?
Yes. Thank you
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much. We'll see you at Arbor Day. We have no notice of call-up. We have no first reading of ordinances. We do have one public hearing. This is Ordinance 10, Series of 2026, updates to Title 15 of the City of Aspen Municipal Code. I think we have a city attorney coming up to explain this all to us.
We do.
In just a second, because I have to get on the Zoom meeting. Okay. Yes. And my computer is on the wrong network. Hang on. I apologize for any delay. My computer's thinking. It's contemplating its next move. Well, I can't even get Google to open up. The new Wi-Fi does not like me.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
And I already downloaded it to my desktop just in case I couldn't get on G Drive. Computer problems.
I found the memo fairly explanatory on this. If we don't need the computer presentation.
Well, I made a lovely presentation for you. I'm very.
We'll give it a few more minutes. Wouldn't want that to go to waste.
No, if you, there are just a few things that I really want to make sure that we cover and are clear about what's being removed.
Sure.
Because I think that that's important. And sort of some of the decision-making behind it that was done in conjunction with Chief Ferber. So this is a very collaborative process with APD and our department. And so I think we're all pretty pleased with the outcome. If you didn't know, most of our Title 15 hasn't been updated since 1998, with the exception of the addition of a few things, such as our discrimination code, which was added 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So part of this project was to ensure that we used this opportunity after in Read People v. Camp to update the code so that it was more user-friendly, because after 2.5 years of using this code and talking to officers and going back and forth, it really became apparent that there was a better way to organize this so that things were easier to find. I could just do the presentation from here without the Teams. Would that work? Or will we have a public?
So it wouldn't show on the public side?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, not everybody would see the beautiful presentation.
Beautiful. I wouldn't say it's that. I just want to cover everything.
Okay, you guys keep working on it. Council, just for a reminder, our next work session on June 1st, we will be starting at 3:30 p.m. at the 320 West Main Street home for a site visit. So just make sure you have that for a slightly earlier meeting.
That's on June 1st?
Yes.
Correct.
Nimbly.
Mountain Rescue. Former.
Tuesday, we do not have,
I doesn't like guest at all.
we have no meeting Tuesday, do we?
It's looking
No.
good. Drove by yesterday, it was looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can do that.
Not sure if I could hear the barbecue smells all day long, every day, though. It smells delicious.
Aha. Hang on.
I like your screensaver.
We can thank Microsoft for that. Although it is my alma mater's mascot, the Nanook.
Odin?
University of Alaska Fairbanks, Nanooks.
Odin's polar bears also.
Here we go.
All right. So, like I said earlier, the point of this is to kind of go through what Title 15 does, which I'm sure you guys know, but I wanted to just make sure that everyone understood what it was and why we were making these changes. So, Title 15 currently governs all municipal crimes. These are the ones that are generally enforced by the City of Aspen Police Department, sometimes by Parks Department. Currently, under Title 15, they're all subject to a maximum fine of $26.50 and/or 1 year in jail. Let's see if my clicker works. Oh, now Zoom Workplace is turning on. Great. Okay. So why are changes recommended? There was a new case that came out from the Colorado Supreme Court on December 22, 2025, so it's a pretty new case. And it was in People v. Camp. So the case itself is actually very interesting. It consolidated two municipal court cases from Westminster and Aurora, which are both home rule municipalities, which is why it affects us. And the question that was considered was whether a home rule municipality can sentence a non-felony level offender in excess of the state statutory sentencing caps. So essentially, quite a few of our crimes are analogous to petty offenses, and what was happening and has happened here in the past is that people are getting much higher fines and potentially much longer jail sentences. So the outcome of the case, really the crux of it is that the municipal penalties may not exceed the corresponding state penalties for that conduct. But, and I think this is really important because we have a lot of municipal code violations that are not under Title 15 and do not have analogous state crimes. So the court specifically noted that this does not affect ordinances that prohibit conduct that does not have a corresponding state statute. So that would be our land use cases, all sorts of other cases that come about in our other code provisions. So we still will have effectively codes that give us teeth to deal with some of these other violations. So what do we need to do? We need to revise sentencing for all municipal crimes that prohibit conduct that is identical to the conduct prohibited by state statute. And this is to ensure that if a person is charged and convicted in municipal court, they do not receive a greater sentence than they would have had they been charged and convicted in Pickens County Court. So an interesting thing, our municipal code under Title 15 is actually pretty robust. So there were quite a few crimes that actually were analogous to much more serious crimes. So what changes are being proposed? We're proposing a comprehensive revision of Title 15 to reorganize it so that it better serves the needs of our community. So as of right now, the city will retain in Title 15 all current violations that are either petty offenses or matters of local jurisdiction without corresponding state crimes. So that's our nuisance laws. We have a code that requires people, if you're going to leave a refrigerator out in your yard, that it has to have a lock on it so that children can't crawl in. There is no state law for that, but it's an important safety thing that is important to local jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So those are remaining. So currently, our current Title 15 looks kind of like this if you make an outline of it. So everything is under Title 4. It's pretty clunky to navigate, pretty difficult to find things, and there's no real clear organizational system. So what we're proposing is to break it up into 9 chapters to better organize it. So definitions, types of crimes, and applicable sentencing. So the outline will look like this. We'll have definitions. Sentencing has its own chapter. Petty offenses have their own chapter. Unclassified misdemeanors, those are our misdemeanors of local jurisdictions. Inchoate crimes, those are our incomplete crimes, so conspiracy and attempt. And then we created a sole section for the discriminatory practices prohibited. We felt like that was deserved its own chapter. Same thing with nuisance, and same thing with lost and confiscated property. So we did have to rewrite our sentencing ordinance. So for all of the petty offense, they need to be sentenced in accordance with Colorado Revised Statute 18.1.3, 503, parentheses 1.5. I don't think I need to read the whole thing to you, but then all other violations listed in Title 15 will be subject to the general penalties in Municipal Code Section 1.0408, and that's our 2650/1 year in jail. So that means that all of our, anything not in Chapter 4 will be subject to this. And then for the purpose of the inchoate crimes, violations shall be sentenced to the same sentencing maximums as the underlying offense. So if someone attempts to commit petty offense, it's a petty offense. If someone attempts to leave a refrigerator outside without a lock on it, although I don't think that would be a very common attempt crime, but that would still be under the 2650 under 1.0408. So there's our new sentencing. So now we're going to get into kind of the specific changes to the code. These changes are all proposed after consultation and working with Chief Ferber. So I thank her for her time on this project. So specifically, the type of the crimes that we are recommending for removal are crimes that have identical state statutes and that are classified as crimes that are more serious than a petty offense. So these are crimes that would result in a situation where for the same crime, a person charged and convicted in Aspen Municipal Court would face significantly less repercussions than if they were charged and convicted in Pickens County or District Court. So these are also crimes which are better suited to the state judiciary system and can benefit from more services in probation. And I will get to your question, Bill, at the end. So specifically, we're removing assault and battery. That's anywhere up to a F1. So you can either go to prison for assault and battery. Ours doesn't have any limitation on it, so we're recommending that that be removed from municipal code and only be charged into Aspen or into Pickens County District Court or Pickens County Court. It's the most common form is an M1, which is pretty serious and does result in possibly probation, usually some jail time, and we just don't have the resources to deal with that. Resisting and interfering with an officer prohibited, we're recommending that be removed and then be charged only into Pickens District and County Court. It's a Class 2 misdemeanor. There are some sentence enhancers, which I could go into, but they're pretty boring, that can up the penalties. Carrying a concealed weapon prohibited. Once again, this is another one that's a Class 1 misdemeanor. It really belongs in state court with the more significant guardrails. So indecent exposure is particularly one of the concerning ones that we have. So Colorado Revised Statute 18.7.302 prohibits indecent exposure. It is the identical behavior that we prohibit, with the exception that ours also has a provision for if you're dressed lewdly. I'm not sure how that works, and it probably isn't enforceable at this point. But the important note is that a person convicted of indecent exposure under state law must register as a sex offender. and attend some form of reoffender treatment. If they have multiple violations, it raises to felony level 5. So right now, if they are convicted in Aspen Municipal Court, they would receive a fine, they're jailed, no sex registration, no treatment, no probation. And this is a pretty serious crime, and this is often one of those crimes that come into the state court system and through further investigation lead to further charges. So this one in particular, removing it and having it only be charged into state court, we feel would be very appropriate for public safety. So this one, is Jim still here? Oh, he left. So this was adopted in 1992. In 1504-590, prohibiting sale of furs in a leg hold trap. It's pretty inhumane. In 1996, the Colorado Constitution added this ban, and it's been codified. So we're recommending removing it. Once again, it's one of those things where CPW probably would do a better job. The Colorado Parks and Wildlife would probably do a better job. We have a ban on owning endangered species, and the important thing about this one is that these crimes carry really specific penalties that really matter when it comes to hunting and fishing, like suspension and revocation of hunting and fishing licenses. And that carries a lot more teeth than what we would be able to do. Also, a lot of them amount to felony charges. CPW does a fantastic job with their investigating, and they have a ton of knowledge and a ton of resources, and they do not let things fall through the cracks. And so we are recommending that we remove that and let CPW do all of that. So there were 3 different types of theft in our code. They all prohibited substantially a similar thing. We're proposing that we adopt a combined theft code that mirrors the state statute for petty offense theft, and that any thefts over $300 will be cited into Pickens County or district court, depending on the severity. Disorderly conduct, we revised it to mirror the state statute. It simplifies disorderly conduct and removes some potentially problematic language. For example, obstreperous language was banned, which is very difficult to define. So consolidating it and using the simplified version that is in state court seemed to be a logical way to fix that. So at our last meeting, Councilor Guth brought up what adding probation or problem-solving court might look like. So in some other communities, City of Boulder has created a community court, which I provide you with a link to. They're doing really cool stuff. They also have a significantly larger high utilizer population, but what they're doing is really cool. 9th Judicial District has the drug court. This provides wraparound services. It's mostly for repeat drug offenders that are in the felony, low-level felony level, not really what we see. And then there's probation, which is a really great tool that helps to hold defendants accountable. And something I didn't put in here, which I should have, is how much municipal court uses the PACT program. We are often calling Officer Jerez, who is mainly in charge of that when we have our unhoused population, to see if can they help get this person services. Because if we can get people services, usually we can get them not in the system. And then also the APD has been kind of giving people a limit of number of times that they're going to be charged into municipal court and moving them into county court where there are more services. It's not that we can't have them. We're really small. We have our judge and me as a prosecutor, and Mr. Butt will help out. And we try not to make Kate do it. And we have Tracy Terry, who's amazing, who's our, has a whole bunch of other duties in the city clerk's office, but donates some of her time to be our court clerk. So this would require directive and commitment from council if this is something we want to do. Because as of right now, we don't have the staff capacity to implement any of these programs. But if it's something you want, let us know. We would love to explore this, tell you more about it if you're interested. But at this juncture, we'd recommend that you adopt the changes to Title 15, and then if you wanted to discuss the sentencing alternatives, we can discuss them later, possibly at a work session or any other directive. Questions?
Thank you. Bill?
Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa, for looking into that and for your presentation. And to be clear, I didn't ask specifically about any of those things that you presented. I asked, are there other things that we can do to make up for what we may think are insufficient penalties, or something along those lines? And so my follow-up, and thank you for the answers that you did give, but my follow-up question would be, did you investigate if there are other penalties and other ways to penalize someone that may not be time in jail or financial?
I can do some more looking into that, but in general, we're pretty limited by what state statute provides because of In-Re People v. Camp. So it's really the other options are these problem-solving courts or probation. As I put in my memo, one of the things that we often do is we come to a plea agreement, and through those plea agreements, I can require people to do community service or other things like that. We could do a code change and potentially add community service. We don't have a way to supervise that. So that's, once again, a staffing issue, which is, it's solvable. Same thing with probation, which is a pretty powerful tool, but we don't have the staff for that. So I can definitely look into other penalties, and I apologize if I misunderstood your question, because I recalled you asking specifically about probation, but those are kind of the limited penalties that would be available. It would be probation or community service.
And just to kind of add on to that, when you talk about non-financial and/or jail penalties, where my mind goes are mandatory participations in either treatment programs, community service, or, in Boulder, they're doing like even mandatory participation in mental health treatment as a condition of their municipal court. I think our bottom line here is that's something we can look at as an alternate sentencing option, but we would need the staff to work with the provider to hold defendants accountable. And right now, we don't have the FTEs that can do that. But yes, there are options, and this problem-solving court in Boulder has actually made quite a bit of difference in their recidivism rates. I will say, to Luisa's point, it's a much bigger population that they're dealing with. And I think it got to the point in Boulder where the costs of dealing with this as a city became so great that they decided to invest instead in a problem-solving court that requires things like education, mental health treatment, taking their medicine. They have to sometimes come and prove that they're taking their meds on a regular basis. These are options, but it would take financial resources and personnel resources and potentially supporting community partners that provide those services, because we are not a mental health provider. We have those. It would require contracts with those people and the people managing those contracts. So I think it's an option out there. It's just really a question to council of, do you want to invest? At first, I think it would take some research for us to fully understand what that would entail. But I don't see this working unless you're willing to invest in FTEs to staff the program and meet with these defendants and serve as sort of case managers. And it probably involves having a municipal judge that sits pretty regularly, because the idea here is we hold them accountable. You only get that when they're coming into court on a very regular basis. So yes, there are alternatives to your question. I think it's a simple yes, is we could look at requiring treatment and other things. It is developing a sort of department that would serve as I compare it to a probation department and a case manager department, almost like a social services department, to work with these individuals and make sure that that program is successful and they're meeting those requirements. Because I will say, as a prosecutor, we don't really go out and, they report to somebody and we sort of deal with the back end of, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. We're not monitoring, are you doing what you're supposed to do? And it would take somebody to do that. I hope that maybe answers your question better.
Yeah, I'd say some light follow-up would be appreciated by me. I'm happy to move forward with this tonight, but, and I'd particularly be interested in knowing if some of that we may or may, if we find some of that to be desirable, could some of the enforcement and follow-up work be subcontracted out to others, the county or some private enterprise or something like that. I don't want to bring more full-time staff into the city for this, but if there was some kind of way to do some of it, I'd be interested.
And it would be with the state. The state runs all the probation departments. That's not really actually a county function. It's a state function, although.
9th Judicial District would be.
Yeah. So we can look into it. Yeah, that's an option. If there's consensus by council to look more into that, but I do think it would.
Again, on the lighter side, and I think I'd defer to you to use your judgment on where it would be potentially appropriate to put some of that into place. So, for example, we're not going to sentence someone to probation for not locking their refrigerator in there.
No.
In their yard, to use the example that you gave, Louisa. But, if someone's a 5-time repeat offender of some petty shoplifting or something like that, I don't think they're getting the message on the first 4 penalties that we've given them. So what else can we do? And so that's where I would encourage you to sort of use your judgment and say, all right, what issues have we had like that are sort of repeat things where people aren't getting the messages? And what do we think feels insufficient for the type of crimes that we do experience in this town? And where could we think about potentially adding some more penalties?
And if I can speak to that a little bit, a lot of times when we have people who are continuous repeat offenders, they are also in state court. And so I work very closely with the state court prosecutors to figure out what's going on, what are they doing, what kind of services can we get them, what would be appropriate for them to do in state court where they have all these services set up so that they're not back here in municipal court. So that is something that we're always working on, which it's not a perfect situation, but sometimes it works as a stopgap in situations where we're like, something has got to be done. We cannot continue this way. So there is that interplay between multi-jurisdictions.
Okay. A couple of thoughts. Those are interesting, Bill, and I appreciate it. I was thinking along the same lines. Particularly if we're feeling that there's a state penalty that is noticeably too low for the crime committed, I think we need to take advantage of Colorado Municipal League and work to change those codes next session. And they'll be soliciting potential proposals this summer and this fall and finding sponsors. So I think that's where we really need to look at our code and say, is there anything that the state should be beefing up, because it would be not a deterrent and not effective. So that would be the first place I would go with that. The second is, I'm not interested also in creating more cost here or full-time employees or part-time. And I'm wondering, by moving some of these offenses up to being filed in district court, will that increase our costs for prosecuting them through district court? It still will be.
We would not prosecute them.
We would not.
So the way
our police officers might be there to testify, or.
But they're already there.
They're already involved.
Already involved, because these are already crimes that exist in state court. So they're already being, because they can. When we have crimes that are very similar like that, they have an option to either file into municipal court or file into state court. So, I mean, it may slightly increase the number of cases that officers are having to appear for in state court. But what it will do is it will reduce some of those cases that do take a lot of our court's time. For example, we do have a jury trial coming up, and it is an assault one, and it could have been filed into state court. And so that's one of those things that is a large lift for our small court.
Right.
And so, those more serious crimes that people tend to want to have trials and want to have hearings about, letting them be handled by Pickens County Court, which is set up to really do that much more smoothly with those more serious things, I think will actually be a net benefit.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with having these filed in Pitkin County when necessary, and looking at, again, if there's any, we should try legislatively to get the fines moved to a more appropriate level, or the penalties. And the final question, I'm just not as familiar right now, but I think Judge Aaron Fernandez Ely had created a drug court. Is that still ongoing?
Yes, she created, she created two courts. She created a mental health court and a DUI court, and I believe a drug court. So she was very instrumental in building that in our community. The drug court is still ongoing, and that encompasses a lot of the, not necessarily low level, but the low felony level to high misdemeanor level drug use and DUIs, and people who are just unable to complete regular probation. And it's a very strenuous wraparound program. I was the prosecutor for it for quite a while, and I saw a lot of amazing success in changing people's lives. And they do an amazing job. It is also a very time-intensive, staff-intensive program. It rotates through judges. So different judges take it for different periods of time because it does take so much time from their docket.
Yeah, and I'm just inquiring about that, kind of following up on some of Bill's concerns. Rather than us standing up and funding a full new department or full-time equivalents, is that something we might participate or contribute to the existing drug court or the courts that are handling some of these offenses in a better manner?
Potentially. I will say that it may have changed since I was at the 9th Judicial District, but there were very clear requirements, and you had to be hitting a felony level to be in there. So not a lot of
misdemeanors.
Not a lot. Some people who really just flew at the M1 level of misdemeanor repeatedly would wind up in there, but usually it was people who were getting into the felonies and who were looking at the next time they got in trouble they were going to go to prison. But what I will say is that a lot of our repeat high utilizers also have cases in district court, or they're very rarely just in our court. And so that's where the cooperation with the 9th Judicial District Prosecutor's Office really comes into play, where we're able to help, be like, okay, this person has these things going on in this court, and they have this going on in their court, and they're going to go to drug court. And so we're going to, reduce what they have going on in here so they can focus on that.
Okay.
So there really is a lot of
teamwork.
Yeah. And I'm really proud of that relationship between the two different courts.
Appreciate that. Well, thank you for answering my questions. I saw our attorney, Jim True, come into the room. Did you want to add anything to the conversation or anything? No. Okay, just wondering. He's here for moral support. This is a public hearing, and so perhaps I will open the public hearing if there's no other questions from the table.
Go ahead. One question. Well, is Pitkin County, this potentially increases their caseload? Do they have any thoughts on this? Are you working with them?
I really haven't talked to them about this change. But that's also because these are laws that they're already enforcing. Okay. And they're cases that we don't see a lot of. So it may increase their caseload by a very small proportion. I will say that there was one case that came through that was an indecent exposure case, and that was filed into, that's sort of where I feel like we all had a big learning experience about the failings of our indecent exposure code, is that was filed into county court. And a lot of these more serious ones are already in there. Okay. So it's really just a way to clean up our situation so that we don't have the ones that fall through the cracks and wind up in municipal court in a situation where the sentences really aren't appropriate.
That makes sense. And I understand why this is all happening. It's very interesting. Just want to make sure that we're not sort of offloading our issue onto another system and they're not prepared for it.
Yeah, and that's a really great point, and I should have reached out to them. I did talk to Ben Sollers briefly, he is the elected district attorney, briefly about it, but not in detail, just that we are changing our code. But that is something that I'm happy to reach out to them and see if they have any issues with.
Okay, thanks.
But that, I think that was a neglect on my part.
And I'm going to look to Chief Ferber because I know the law enforcement communities meet fairly regularly.
Okay.
And I think this actually happened quite a while ago. This is not sort of really recent that we started sort of this rule of after so many offenses, you get written into county court. You might just have some
put
thoughts.
the high utilizer program in about 2 years ago now. We've worked closely with the courts, both at the county and the district level, and they're aware of the changes that are coming and very cooperative.
Okay.
I think that's why we're seeing some of the changes in community. It's an effective strategy.
Makes sense to me. They got the jail.
Yeah.
Is there anyone who would like to make a motion?
We're done with public.
Oh, sorry, I mentioned it, but is there anyone here to comment for public comment? Or we're seeing anyone online? No. Okay, I will close the public comment. Thank you, Bill.
Sure. Now I'll move to approve this.
John?
Sorry.
Say thanks to our legal department for, I think what we're trying to do here is eliminate confusion and redundancies and just be more closely aligned with state law. So thanks for your work on this. I think it's going to go a long way to helping everybody out in the future.
And also, a lot of thanks should go to Chief Ferber.
Both of you. Yeah, and she's the one who's going to look and see if there's any CML business for next legislative session, if any of those fines or penalties no longer are meaningful. You know, sometimes they're put in place 25 years ago and never raised, so let's take a look at that. Bill, were you going to make a motion?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number
10.
10. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been made and seconded. Nicole, will you, if any final comments? I'll call the roll, please.
Counselor Benedetti?
Yes.
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Richards?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you both for your work on this and keeping us up to date. We really appreciate it. Thank you for sitting through your first council meeting as our new assistant city attorney. And thank you, Jim, for all the hard work you've given the city. We're still going to try and keep you around for a while. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
It's been made and seconded. Nicole, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Benedetti?
Yes.
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Richards?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
How do we get out of here in under an hour?
Short one after a while. It's been a lot of long ones.
Yeah.
We had a short one while you were gone.
Oh, yeah. That one was really short.
They line it up that way, don't they?
Rachel.